All right, next thing up on the silly season, Chase Sexton to KTM. I know, Lars.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Did this really happen?
Hey, were you bummed when you heard about it? It's been a long time in the making, but like
Yeah. I like Chase.
Right.
It's kind of like your girlfriend broke up with you because you're not good enough, kind of feeling.
Sure.
Just to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we were able to win the Supercross championship with him, however which way we did.
But by that point, it was done. He was gone by then.
Yeah.
So,
but
it
I
was one
don't
of
think
those.
we didn't really know officially that he was gone. I'm sure he had signed before that, but it was still, to us, it was still
Okay.
out there.
Yeah.
So we didn't really find out for a pretty long time, which was kind of a bummer. But it wasn't because of money or anything like that. I think it was more like, what we talked about before, being the number one guy and needing a change in whatever way. I mean, the grass is always going to be greener on the other side, no matter what. It doesn't matter
until you touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he had a lot of issues the last couple of years, and he wanted to make a change. I don't blame him for that. That's what a lot of guys need. So,
do you think there's anything? I try not to look. Brandon Wilson's not going to listen to this. Okay, no one important is going to listen to this. I don't believe so, but I've had people who I really respect and trust tell me that the Honda rigidity, the Honda lack of feel in the front end, is one of the reasons he was crashing and losing his front end. The way he rides, he's a bigger guy, he's off the back, he's losing his front. My comeback to that is, as a mechanic, is like, look, they can change races, they can change the trail, they can change the offset, they can change bar mount. I mean, there's so many things you can do to get weight on the front end of a Honda or the way somebody to help that. And I had other people, like I said, who I know and I trust. They're like, nope, he's not going to do that on a KTM because of the. Is there anything to that?
I mean, I can tell you that we definitely went, every which direction
sure,
to make him,
which is
happy.
My comeback to that. It's like,
right, yeah. I mean, I guarantee you it wasn't. I mean, if too much weight or not enough weight on the front, that ain't it.
Yeah,
it wasn't that. We had a good setup that we got, for Supercross where he started, knocking off, things, and the crashes that happened, I don't know, man. I feel like he got so comfortable on pushing on the front. He pushes the front, I should say. He puts a lot of weight on the front, and he puts a lot of trust in the front. And I think to some extent in the Supercross, he got so comfortable that, there's when you have a lot of traction on the front, you're pushing on a lot. When it goes, it's usually not here it comes.
A slow thing.
Yeah,
look at like road racing, those guys are right on the edge. And then when that thing snaps and they lose front tire traction, it's gone. So I think that's the kind of rider that he is. And we did a pretty good job at trying to, fix all of those issues for him.
I would imagine when you tried to fix those issues, then the bike suffered in other areas, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. And anyways, we'll see if that is different for the
right.
Maybe it will be
yet to be seen. Yeah.
The thing is too, he crashed a lot in 20 outdoors, and then in 21 Supercross, and then he's gotten better every year because he's getting more, just gate drops on a 450, and just his experience level is much higher. Right. So I mean, he crashed way less this year than he did last year. So this next year, you would think he'd be that much better.
Right. Yeah. I'm not the, and again, JT and I, this will be an internal battle for JT and I, because he comes at it from a rider and I come at it from a mechanic. He's not the one who told me about the Honda thing. Somebody else did. But there's an internal battle where I'm just like, look, man, they can pick the bike however you want. You want more weight on the front end? They'll get more weight on the front end for you. You want, it's just a motorcycle. It's not like a magic, magic machine here. There's people whose jobs are engineers and everybody else, technicians, to fix that bike and make it the way you want. And when you say it's good and you're happy, then it is the way you want it. And if you're losing the front end, they'll tell you, hey, man, let's pull that offset in. Let's pull the front axle in. Let's do a number of things. And so I'm not in that boat. I'm not in the boat of that Honda, man, it loses the front end. I'm not there. Sorry. I'm sure Keir thinks differently.
I still think there is something to the platform you start with and it agreeing with some people and maybe not with others. And I'm not speaking Honda and Chase specifically. I'm speaking in general. I mean,
but my comeback to that would be Chase won a championship in so many races.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that platform agrees with him.
I get that. But when I was listening to you speak, it almost sounded like the race team can do anything and create any bike almost. And I don't think it's that far. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why the Star Yamaha's the best. It's not, in my opinion,
Yeah, but Paul,
all about the people at
but
Star.
Paul-
It's because the platform is better
well,
to
okay,
start
but
with.
that you literally took the example of the only manufacturer that turned its motor around. That's what you took your example as. And in that case, yes, they can't turn their motor around. I'll give you that. That platform is why that 250 is so
Yeah.
good. It's sucking so much air in. It's got a big throttle body. All of that works great, right? In every motor that's not turned around, though, you can make
Sure.
them, you know? So that's where I'm at. Like, you're right, the characteristic, but, man, I had
It's still steel versus aluminum. It's a lot of different things, and I still think
yeah.
you can throw anything at it for a Honda and make them feel comfortable, and they'll throw anything at it for a KTM, but I still think you arrive at different things,
sure,
right?
yeah.
And maybe those different things that you arrive with
Yeah.
suit a certain rider better than the other, is all I'm getting at.
I believe you, but then Chase Sexton won so many races that I think that thing suited him pretty well.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
He's a 450
No, I know. That's what I'm
Supercross
saying.
champion.
But they're, I'm sure Chase and his dad, I don't know, but I'm sure they feel like the bike is the cause of some of these crashes. And we'll
sure
see.
they do.
And
Yeah,
we'll see. But I'm not there like where I'm like, I just think you're trusting the front too much, or you're leaned
Right.
too far back. Like in Seattle. Like to me, Seattle, he was coming in, he was way back off the back, and it's slick dirt. Like I'm just like, well, I think that's on you. I know riders don't like to hear that, and sometimes they can't tell themselves that because it hurts their confidence.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, Chad Reed, was anything Chad's fault ever?
Good
point.
Was
Yeah,
anything
exactly, yeah.
was anything Chad's
Yeah.
fault?
But I mean, he has that mindset, and Hunter's kind of got the same. Like you said earlier, if he doesn't get a good qualifying or something like that, or in the heat race
Yeah.
you get worked, they're kind of the same. You tell yourself it ain't me,
Sure.
and you come into the race, and a lot of times they'll prove that point that
Yeah.
like all of a sudden they win the race, and
Yeah.
you're like, how that?
That's why sometimes I talk about being in the media in this job. Like you can just see like, a receiver drops a pass. Well, you dropped the pass. Like you had it and you dropped it. In our sport, like as a media and you go around and you try to find answers, the racers most of them are not going to admit they did something wrong. It's somebody else's reason, right?
Yeah.
And you're chase. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it legitimately is somebody else's reason on why a rider does poorly or whatever. But in the media, you're trying to chase things down, and the riders are like, "Yeah, man, yeah."
Yeah. Although I think that Chase did a great job of taking it on the chin this
He
year.
did.
Right?
He
Yeah.
did. really did.
He met with the media like in his
Yeah.
lowest
He really
moments. He
did.
would talk. Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He had a lot of hard situations,
Yep.
and he never seemed to shy away from much of it.
And he could have said a lot of times there,
Yep.
like, yeah, my freaking bike,
Yep.
whatever. And he
Nope.
never did.
I actually told him that privately. I said, "Hey, man, I really admire
I did too, yeah. I know.
you meeting the media on
Yeah.
your low nights as much as your good nights."
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no, for sure. And even Kier too. Like Kier is so much harder on Chase after the race than he is on us. Because he's
Yep.
he's seen his kid ride so much. So, anyways, that didn't even come up that much this year, and maybe they were already moved on. They were
Yeah.
gonna just do the best that they could and not make too much of a stink publicly. Anyway, it was
Yep.
the year was not a bad year.
Yeah. I
Obviously.
And coming from the media, Lars, I just have to thank you for finally putting this fucking Carmichael curse down. I couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take it.
Me neither.
Honda hasn't won since Carmichael left. Carmichael, I can't take it.
Yeah.
I couldn't take it anymore. It had nothing to do with Ricky Carmichael leaving. There was no curse.
Yeah.
There was nothing like that.
I thanked Ricky at Unadilla on that when they interviewed
I
me
think
too.
there was
Yeah.
no curse.
Yeah.
There was no curse?
No.
Okay.
No, there was nothing.
I had a plan to bring a little doll with a needle sticking through the heart and have him pull it like in
Yeah.
front of everybody, but I didn't have to do that, thankfully.
If I had $1 for every time, they haven't won since Carmichael. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, dude.
You're telling me. Yeah.
No, you're right though. Like you think back to the Honda team with the year before, 22, with Kenny there and the Luxon clamps and all of that. Like that was,
Yeah.
everyone was throwing shit at the bike at that point, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Doing
Which
what
again,
they can.
props to you guys. That would have never happened at Honda 5 years ago.
Right.
There's no way an aftermarket triple clamp is going on that motorcycle.
It was an X-Trig.
Oh,
It was
I
not
thought
a-
Luxon. Sorry.
no,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Mixed X-Trig.
Yeah. X-rig. No, we tried a lot, which is
Yep.
why it's kind of funny too, even with Kenny leaving. Like, oh, they'll let him do whatever he wants over there. We did a lot. I mean, we did a
Right.
lot.
You're like,
So,
yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. All right, Decal Works, bringing you our next guest on the show tonight. PulpMX23 is the code to save with Decal Works, #1 for many reasons. Their mission is to cater to those who love to ride, upholding the true definition of quality, service, and knowledge. Thank you to the folks at Decal Works, from beginners to seasoned vets, race teams, project builds, and more. Decal Works bringing you our next guest on the show. He's a friend of the show, WUSA. John Anderson. What's up, John? How are you, man?